Hi again. I just wanted to jump on and talk to you a little bit about food quality because we're going to be talking a lot about eliminating foods, eliminating toxins. We're going to be talking about eliminating a lot of things, but I want to talk to you about how you can discriminate the food that you're shopping for so that you make sure you're getting food that's really good for you and high quality. So let's talk a little bit about that. So this course emphasizes high quality foods. We really are what we eat. It's the total truth. The only way we get what our body is made out of is to consume it through food. So the food that we consume has to be the building blocks of our body. And the better those building blocks are, the better we function. It's just common sense. So these are a couple of things I just wanted to mention as you're going out shopping and you're looking for food. So we emphasize high quality ingredients, and there are so many health claims out there on labels that it's really hard to keep track of what they mean and what's right and what's wrong. And so when you start to make better choices for yourself and for your health, all of these new terms on the packages can really be overwhelming to you. Ideally, you want to buy whole foods, whole, unprocessed foods, things that don't even have labels on them because they are so unprocessed. The truth is, though, that this is not always realistic. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what certain terms mean when you're purchasing products, and when you're purchasing certain products, what you should be looking for. What we want to do is we want to make sure that you're making the best food choices for yourself. So here goes. So first off, when you're buying produce meaning fruits and vegetables, organic is absolutely the best. And if you can, it's great to make sure that all of your produce is organic, because that means that you're avoiding pesticides and herbicides and GMO products. Also, if you can buy produce locally, very close to where it is grown, you know that it hasn't sat in a truck or a cooler or hasn't been through many hands to get to you. You know where it's coming from, and you know that it's super fresh, and you know that it's the freshest that it can possibly be. So going to places like farmers markets and farm stands, and even most supermarkets carry local and seasonal produce. So that would be what I would recommend. Also, in your resources, we've given you a guide from the Environmental Working Group, which talks about the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen are the 12 dirtiest foods when you buy them non-organic, meaning they're full of pesticides, herbicides. They're difficult to clean. They should be avoided at all costs. The Clean 15 are a group of 15 fruits and vegetables. Even if they're not organic, they've got low residues of pesticides and herbicides and other bad things. So check out your Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen, because that will give you a lot of information on how to buy your produce. Regarding seafood, there are a few different things that we look for. Number one, we want to make sure that they are harvested as humanely as possible. Wild caught, way better than farmed. Most farm fish are eating terrible diets that are unnatural to fish and that are there to simply fatten them up. So a lot of the food that is fed to fish is actually harmful to humans. So I would stay away from farm fish. The size of the fish and where the fish lives really matters. For example, larger fish tend to be higher in heavy metals and pesticides and other toxins because they're eating the smaller fish that are eating the smaller fish that are eating the smaller fish. That means that the larger fish are the final resting place for all of the toxins that every other fish that they've eaten has eaten. So you want to be careful about that. You also want to be careful about the bottom feeders. As we know, the heavy metals and lots of toxins will settle to the bottom of the oceans. With eggs and poultry, a lot of the same concepts are at play. You want them as cleanly raised as possible. So from a point of humanely raising, we have to be careful about the words cage free, because cage free just means that their cage time is limited. It still means that they're often in cages. It is just that their cage time is limited. Pasture raised means they were raised in a pasture. So it means that they are free to be in their natural environment. From a humane perspective, that is a better way to go. We also find that the pastured eggs often have those nice, deep yellow, almost orange yolks. And the deeper the color in the yolk, the more nutrients are available in that yolk. If you are eating dairy, it's really important to make sure the source of your dairy is clean, clean, clean. So you want grass-fed cows. You definitely want organic, because that means that your cows have not been injected with hormones and antibiotics and have not been raised on feed that has pesticides and herbicides in it, because all that stuff is fat soluble and goes into the milk of the cow. There are a lot of studies that show that raw or unpasteurized milk can be much more nutrient dense than pasteurized milk. However, you do need to be careful about your sources and make sure that your sources are good, because there are some chronic infections that can come from raw and unpasteurized milk. Here's another bit about food quality. Ideally, you're going to buy foods that are whole, foods that are not processed, foods that are around the outside perimeter pretty much of your grocery store. For the most part, at least during this program, and hopefully for the rest of your life, you're going to be spending a lot more time on the outside perimeter of your store than on the inside aisles where all the processed food is. So what I would recommend is that you first take your tour around the outside perimeter of your grocery store, and you will see where all the good whole foods live. When we get to processed foods, the more stuff there is in there, the worse off it is. And so many of us look at these things, we can't even pronounce half of the chemicals that are on the label. If you're looking at a label and you cannot pronounce some of the chemicals that are on the labels that are in the food that you're looking at purchasing, my recommendation would be not to purchase.